Xbox Game Pass. A lot of people love it. Microsoft has bet their future on it. But behind the big library and the day one launches, there is a hidden cost. And I'm not talking about a cost to your wallet, but to the platform it is supposed to be the champion of. Many call it the best deal in gaming, and I will definitely dig into that claim later. But today I want to focus on Game Pass and all of its player-friendly appeal that might have inadvertently backed Xbox into a corner. Microsoft loves to tout those Game Pass subscriber numbers. What they don't love to share is how many Xbox consoles that they're selling, or how well their games actually sell. And as of 2025, most estimates put the Series X and S sales significantly behind Sony's PlayStation 5. And some reports even suggest that it's trailing its own predecessor, the Xbox One, which was considered a massive failure. So, what does Game Pass have to do with it? Well, when you put brand new games that cost $200 to $300 million like Starfield and more into a subscription service on day one, you are massively impacting the standalone sales. There's an industry analyst, Christopher Dring, that anecdotally reported that games in Game Pass can expect to lose around 80% of their premium sales on Xbox. We saw Hellblade 2, which was a first-party exclusive, barely even chart in traditional sales metrics. Game Pass has cultivated a mindset that you see in comments everywhere. Is it on Game Pass? If not, I'm not playing it. This makes it incredibly tough for games not in the service to succeed on Xbox, which we have seen from some developers that are hesitant to even bring games to the platform without a Game Pass deal. And now we're seeing Microsoft being forced to release its flagship games on competing platforms like PlayStation. This is not a bold expansion for Microsoft. This is a desperate move to recoup investment that the Xbox ecosystem under the current Game Pass model can't provide. But what if there was another way? A way for Game Pass to offer incredible value without arguably hollowing out the core Xbox business. Let's imagine a different Game Pass model. First, no more day one AAA first party or major third party games in Game Pass. These titles would launch as premium purchases just like they do on other platforms. This would allow Xbox to capitalize on those crucial initial sales, rewarding the massive investment that these games cost. Game Pass would still be a launch pad for fantastic indie titles and smaller AA games, giving them a crucial spotlight and an audience that they might not otherwise find. Now, here's where the core perk of this revised Game Pass comes in. If you subscribe to Game Pass and you purchase a new game on Xbox, you would get all major future DLC and expansions for that game in that service. Think about it. You buy the new Fable or Gears of War, and every significant story expansion or content drop after that is yours at no extra charge as long as you're a Game Pass member. And you can even still have discounts on those games to be able to buy them. And then over time, after the main sales window is passed, I would say 2 to 3 years, these full base games would eventually enter in the Game Pass library for everyone, building a rich back catalog. This is why I think this would be a much more sustainable method. Firstly, DLC and expansion sales often represent a smaller portion of a game's revenue. The real money in modern gaming frequently comes from those ongoing in-game purchases, cosmetics, battle passes, you name it. Data from 2025 showed that microtransactions are making up nearly 60% of PC gaming revenue, and over 30% on console, far exceeding the traditional DLC sales figure. So, if Game Pass gave subscribers a major DLC for free after they bought the base game, it would keep players engaged in the game world for longer. And longer engagement in a game that has microtransactions means much more opportunities for players to spend on those microtransactions. That free DLC becomes a catalyst for the real revenue drivers. Secondly, DLC is much cheaper to produce than a full $200 million AAA game. It builds on existing assets and technologies. That means that the money that the developers would be paid for including the DLC in Game Pass would be much smaller of a financial undertaking than bankrolling a day one launch. This would also probably boost upfront game sales, giving Xbox and developers the revenue they need. Game Pass then becomes a more powerful companion to game ownership than just a rental service, and it would keep players invested in the ecosystem rather than devaluing the new releases and the actual platform itself, because those games are also on PC and you don't even need an Xbox to play them anymore. I would like to know what you think though. Could this model have prevented the current situation where Xbox hardware sales are struggling, and Microsoft feels the need to become a multi-platform publisher for its biggest titles? Microsoft has already chosen its path. They could change it, but they are focusing on subscriber growth above all else. But it does raise the question, is the current Game Pass truly the best deal for the long-term health of Xbox and its ecosystem? Would you prefer a Game Pass that gave you free DLC for games that you bought, or do you like the day one AAA releases, even with the downsides that we've discussed? For me personally, I would love to see Xbox be able to compete again in the market. Right now, they're not, but I would like to know your thoughts on it as well.